My genetic likelihood, I am 73% likely to have dark hair.
Do you know what color your hair is anymore?
It's not naturally pink, I can tell you that.
Hey everybody, Trace here. You've probably heard about DNA testing and DNA sequencing and DNA evidence. So a while back, Amy and I grabbed our own DNA kits and figured out what this is all about for science. In 2003, humans finally sequenced our own DNA. This is a huge milestone in understanding ourselves. It's like if your computer could read its own computer code. This is Stephen Sanders of the University of California, San Francisco.
So people tend to think of our DNA as a book. Can you just simply read what the DNA says? But that doesn't come close to capturing the amazingness of it. It's much better thought of as a three-dimensional computer program.
It wasn't until 1953 that we found the double helix shape of DNA, the building block of all life as we know it. But today, with a few clicks, we can order a kit to see what these blocks build for each of us. Of course, Amy and I had to try it, and unsurprisingly, we learned a ton. So we got these DNA testing kits, and they require us to spit into them a lot. Do you want to race? Do you want to race the rest of the way?
No, I do not want to race.
Oh, come on!
It's a lot of spit. Why is my saliva so frothy?
Our saliva, or more specifically the cells floating in it, was sent to a lab so the DNA could be tested, or, as Sanders calls it, interrogated.
Done.
Spit sampled.
Can I be done now?
So DNA comes from cells, and almost every single cell in our body has DNA. To actually get that to be interrogated, we need to split it up. And so we shear the DNA into little chunks. Then once you've got the DNA, you need to put it onto the microarray.
This is an actual microarray. The squares are hundreds of thousands of holes, called wells.
And it's a very special wafer because it's full of tiny, tiny little holes. And each one of those holes is unique to a region in your genome.
Basically, as the DNA floats around on the microarray, specific bits of DNA will be attracted to specific wells and will bind to the compounds there. This is called hybridization. There's so much DNA in each of your cells that while it's left overnight, multiple genes will find their way to each well. Once there, special chemicals are added to make it glow, and scientists just take a picture.
Inside each one of those tiny little pits, we're going to see a bead, and that bead is covered in DNA.
A, T, C, G are the base compounds of DNA, and they come in pairs. There are about 3 billion pairs in each DNA strand. There are so many that we can actually only sample a few. Scientists do research all the time to identify specific groups of these pairs called genes. Genes can cause blue eyes, thick earwax, or even tell where you're really from.
So trying to distinguish someone who's European from someone who's African from someone who's Asian is the easiest thing by far. The variation in DNA, so base pairs which actually change from an A to a T, all of that just happens by spontaneous mutation. As you move away from Africa towards Europe or towards Asia, those variations change, and the further apart those populations are, the more those changes are there.
As scientists get more and more DNA samples, they'll be able to compare more and more people to find these genetic components that make up our lives by comparing all these different genomes.
But also just trying to understand how this incredible molecule can result in a human. How a single molecule can change your eye colour, your hair colour, whether you want to have a coffee at certain times of the day, and whether you're going to develop heart disease in the future.
So that's what the scientists actually performing the DNA testing do with your spit, and a bit about what you can learn from it. So what did we learn? Eventually, our own results came back. Okay, so it's been a few weeks. Let's check our results.
All right, let's do ancestry first.
Ancestry. I'm 95.9% European.
I'm 100% European.
I'm from everywhere.
Oh my God, you are, I'm sorry.
Look at this map.
You are from everywhere.
1.3% Native American.
Oh my God, I am just straight up European.
2.7% Sub-Saharan African.
Weird.
Less than 0.1% Middle Eastern.
Oh, surprise, I'm also from Russia, Ireland, and England.
Oh man. The results don't say you have this or you don't have that. Instead, it shows percentages and likelihoods of various traits, genetic illnesses, and predispositions. It even lists if you're a carrier. I am unlikely to have an alcohol flush reaction.
Is that like the getting red?
Yeah. I likely consume less caffeine. That's true. I do likely consume less caffeine.
I likely consume more caffeine.
Also true.
Unsurprising.
Also true.
Yeah. You must go to view report.
How much Neanderthal do you have? Ooh.
I am more than 44% of users. What are you?
More than 84% of users. I'm pretty Neanderthal.
You're
What do you
like
mean by
more
that?
like
What does that mean?
fiery and junk. Like it makes sense.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am likely lactose tolerant.
Me too.
Oh, great. Yeah, all right.
I'm
Lactose.
also a likely sprinter.
Same.
So this is really interesting, and this is what I've heard of this one, and I thought it was probably going to be something about fast twitch and slow twitch muscles, but I find it really interesting that this many like regular human factors are things that you can actually tell from your genetics. And I would actually be curious to know if anybody's done any studies into like correlation between the people who are genetically likely sprinters versus people who are actually athletes. Okay, so apparently I have a variant detected for a rare genetic disorder called maple syrup urine disease. I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what it is.
I'm scared.
This is the best. It's a disease where you cannot break down certain amino acids, so their urine tends to have a maple syrup odor.
Sorry, it's so Canadian. Oh my god. And I'm only a carrier, so it means if I ever have children, they could potentially have pee that smells like maple syrup. Oh, that's funny.
Which means one of your parents is also a carrier.
I wonder.
Have you ever smelled your parents' urine for any reason?
No. Mom, Dad, can we have a family meeting? I would like for you to both pee in this cup and then let me smell it.
And then we'll all smell it and discuss. When you get tested, you can elect to add your DNA to the worldwide database of humanity, potentially helping scientists all over the planet. It's like donating your genome to science.
And understanding how DNA works, what it can do to us, is going to be critical for existing in the modern age. In the same way that everyone needs to know how to use a website, I think having at least passing familiarity with DNA is going to be an important part of understanding our health in the future.
DNA evidence is ever present in crime television, and so is something else, luminol. You don't know what that is? Watch this other D News Labs here. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.